Europe is in a profound crisis. Populist parties are raging and they paralyze decision makers. They tap into deep anxieties and are attracting more and more voters from across the political spectrum. The thing is, these voters are not crazy. They're angry and they're scared. Populism is the symptom of a problem, it's not the solution. But mainstream politicians and policymakers don't know what to do anymore. They seem to be at a loss even about what the right thing to do is. Our Bridges project was born of an aspiration. Connecting sides and ideas that don't normally come into contact with one another. What we try and bring to the table with the Bridges project is actually a more sophisticated understanding of human nature. That way, it's much easier to see the dynamics at play, what we call the hidden wiring of society. People are increasingly torn between their emotions, their interests, their usual loyalties, and we're at a moment in history where the digital world is exacerbating these contradictions.
Well, I think it's very interesting because normally we people being in the policy field, we don't really have the time to think. I see it like a big forest, and I don't have the time to look at the forest because I'm struggling with every tree, you know.
You discuss the same topic over and over with roughly the same people, and then you're surprised that you cannot come up with new ideas.
We as the Bridges project try to unravel a bit this notion of what actually makes up public behavior and what actually makes up public sentiment.
Just tell me how you feel. I can't see my own mum. Right. The thing that I've kept thinking of over the last couple of days is those glasses that they give you in the opticians. You're always looking at the same board, but they keep changing the lenses. But the flip side of that is, in your own environment, you tend to see the world through one lens. The thing that's been quite interesting about the Bridges project is that suddenly you've got all the lenses.
The whole point of Bridges is to allow policymakers to see an issue through different lenses. When you do that, you might all of a sudden discover that change comes from where you least expect it.
If you bring people together from lots of different disciplines, also from different levels of responsibility, some from the state, some from the private sector, people who have insights from, for example, the behavioural sciences, as well as people who know about economics and politics, then you're much more likely to crack the nut by having all these different hammers to apply to it.
I'm very much in the science language. This kind of debate is extremely interesting for me, but it's very far from my home base.
So I'm a physicist, as you know, and I try to think about this difference between individuals and collective. If you think of birds, each bird in the flock, he says, I take you of my direction from you and you take you from him. Each bird knows vaguely the direction in which he should fly, but overall the bird flocks actually flies in a very precise direction and in the absence of any leader. So if you change direction to decision, you can very well see how this translates to humans. Either people will do the things on their own, or something collective might happen. I trust you because he trusts you because I trust you.
We want to create societies where people are able to relate to one another, to accept somebody who comes in, to accept a foreigner, to accept a migrant, to be resilient. We know that resilience comes from the capacity to trust others. And therefore, we know that we need to encourage and nurture institutions that give us as much opportunity as possible to trust one another.
I feel very European. That the European family has been shaken and is in distress.
Now we are at a crossroads. We have an risen to the challenge. UKIP, UK Independence Party, is leading the charge.
If we do not have this we feeling, we cannot have a successful European political project, and economical as well and social as well. There are different aspects.
Policy making or law making is supposed to go through something called the family test to test and look at what its impacts will be.
There's a huge failure with the political elite in many countries because they adopt the wrong arguments and fail their responsibility for open society and democracy.
For me, it's actually to figure out how to connect the good dots, because there's so many things happening under the radar right now, with so much good energy, so much hope, so much new thoughts and realities.
We are such a dysfunctional family at the moment. And,
yes, but to be optimistic, at least we are still a family.